Love lives here.
Good morning. So once again, I'm glad to be up here, and I'm glad to be with this spiritual community this morning. I don't know about you, but I stepped outside this morning and I went, finally. It was a wonderful thing. I understand that there were some traffic issues today, so I'm glad that you're all here and all safe. And I know that there is a gift here for you this morning, whether it be in the music or the message or just in that spiritual community. I know that you're here on purpose. So CSL globally has a theme, and our theme this year, of course, is Living Everyday Wonder, which is about the intersection of our spiritual lives and our everyday lives. And this month we've been taking a look at nature. Did anybody have a new spirit animal show up in their life last week? Mine was hawks. I was like walking out of my school in my class, and there was like 6 hawks all circling, and it was pretty awesome. So those remind me that it's important to keep the proper perspective from high above. So we've been talking about water, we've been talking about animals, and so today we're going to talk about naturally divine. So we're taking our focus off the outside nature, and we're talking about the inward nature. And I always like to start off with a little joke. This might be a big dad joke, but hang in there with me. It actually ties into my talk, so watch. So why do you need to be extra nice to bananas? You don't want to hurt their peelings. Where's the... So as we've been talking about nature, what I want you to know is that same beauty, that same wisdom, that same intelligence, that same balance, that same pattern that is back of everything in nature is the same beauty, wisdom, and intelligence that is within you. You are this complex ecosystem of behaviors and opinions and things that you enjoy and things that you don't enjoy. It's all complicated. It's all tied up in there, just as complicated and beautiful and messy as nature can be. Humans are this beautiful combination of all of our roles and all of our responsibilities and all of our beliefs and all of our opinions, all of your likes and all of our dislikes. But who are you? Who are you? We identify with so many identities. They're like badges hanging off of us, right? I am a practitioner. I am a mother. I am a cousin. I am a son. I am a father. I am a teacher. I am a volunteer. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I'm a cancer survivor. I'm a whatever, right? Whatever you fill in that blank with. It's like wearing an ID badge on you. And we all have these ID badges all over us that say who we are to the outside world. And then we have these things called opinions. And they're like bumper stickers. They stick all over us. Right? I think this kind of food is good. This kind of food is bad. I like these colors. I look good in these kind of clothes. People should drive like this. People should be more like me. That's the ultimate opinion, right? We wear all these opinions and attitudes around with us like giant bumper stickers that we just stick all over us that tell the world who we are. This is what I stand for. These are my values. These are my opinions. These are my preferences. And then on top of that, we have our favorite behaviors. We are procrastinators. We are workaholics. Wait, I'm just talking to myself. We're morning people or night people. We're people pleasers, or we're stubborn, independent thinkers. That's all of our behaviors. All of these things together form their own unique ecosystem about who we are. It's a combination of all of these things. But you see, those things are all small stuff. They're all small self. They're all self with a small s. Joel Goldsmith says that the first law of human nature is self, small s, preservation. We want to maintain who we are. That's your ego. It's your sense of separateness and importance and uniqueness that says, here's where I am, and there's where you are. And the ego sometimes gets a bit of a bad rap. We hear from the spiritual media, like, get rid of your ego, don't pay attention to your ego. But your ego serves a purpose. It allows you to express uniquely in the world. It allows you to be you. It's that fake barrier that helps us pretend that we are the drop in a bigger ocean. But who are you? Who are you when those things aren't there? When I was a teacher in Las Vegas, they had us do this exercise one time. They had one of the teachers stand in the middle, and they had her wear a backpack. And they put rocks in the backpack. And those rocks represented all of the baggage that we all come with, the beliefs, the attitudes, the background, the family history. All of those were like rocks in the backpack that we carry around with us. And then they had us take those bungee cords, right? And we latched onto the person. And you could feel the pulling from all the different directions. A lot of the things that we say who we are those things in our backpack. And a lot of it's unconscious. And then we have this backpack of unconscious beliefs and attitudes and preferences and opinions that we carry around with us. And then we have all these bungee cords that are constantly pulling us in this direction and that direction, those roles, those responsibilities, and they're all tugging on us. We have all these experiences that we had when we were younger that form who we are. I often talk to parents who I'll say, your son or your daughter is struggling a bit in math. And their mom will look at me and say, oh, yeah, I'm not good at math either, so I'm sure she's not good at math. Why would you say that with your kid sitting right there, right? What is the seed that you just planted in their head? And then we carry that idea around, I'm not good at math, for the rest of our lives. When I was younger, I don't know where I had this experience, but somewhere along the line, I had this bad experience with coleslaw. And it must have happened when I was really young, because I spent the next 40 years of my life telling the entire universe that I hated coleslaw. And then one day I said, okay, I'll try it this one time. Something happened where I just had to eat it. It wasn't an option. It was like on my plate or something. And I tried it and I went, wow, I actually like coleslaw. And I've been eating coleslaw ever since. So these early experiences, these early things that people tell us that we latch onto, we say, yep, that's mine. We put that rock in our backpack and we walk around with it. But who you think you are, who we think we are, is a lot more changeable than we sometimes give it credit. It's a lot more malleable than we think it is. You see, because the truth is that anything that can be taken away from you or anything that can change isn't really who you are. I could have told you that I am a person who does not like coleslaw. But if it's something that can change about me, it's not really who I am. And we all have these roles and our responsibilities, but those aren't who we are. Who are we when we get laid off from our job? When that relationship suddenly disappears? That's how you know it's not really who you are. Because if anything can be taken away from you or it can be changed, it's not really who you are. Now, you might be saying, well, what about those genes? Right? I have this DNA hardwired into my cells. Certainly, I get all this environmental stuff and the opinions and the preferences, but certainly my DNA has something to do with it. Did you know that 99.9% of your genes, that thing that makes you human, is the same as every other human? 99.9% of your genes are the same as everybody else's. And that 0.1% that makes up the difference, it's not as hard and fast as you think it is. It might be tendencies, probabilities, maybes. It's not a hard and fast thing. In fact, we share something like 50% of our DNA with bananas. Told you it was coming. We share 50% of our DNA with bananas, which just goes to tell you that when you think the world is going bananas, you're right. We share 44% of our DNA with honeybees, which is why we're so sweet and busy. You share 26% of your DNA with yeast, which is why you always like to rise to the occasion. So if we are not our roles and our responsibilities, and we're not our genes, and we're not our behaviors and our opinions and our preferences, then who are we? I think that part of the whole COVID experience and that first lockdown that we all got to experience together was suddenly we all had to give up all those roles and responsibilities. Who are you when you're not your job? You can't go out with your friends. You can't go do the things who you are. And you get to stay at home and meet a whole new person. Who are you when all of that stuff falls away? You see, all of those opinions, all of those preferences, all of those tendencies are like programs that are installed on your hard drive. And your ego is like the antivirus software on your computer that tries to protect you from all kinds of different threats. But behind all of those programs, you have an original program called your BIOS. And it's that program that's encoded into the computer chips that is the foundation of all the other things that your computer, your brain, can do. That is your original programming. Everything else runs on top. Everything else is there running in the background. That original programming, it comes with some basic needs. Food, coffee. Oh, no, that's just me. Food, shelter, purpose. We all want to feel like we're here for a reason, that we're living our purpose. Inclusion. We all want to belong somewhere. And self-determination. We all want to feel like we have some control of our life, that we have some choice. Food, shelter, purpose, inclusion, and self-determination. Those are the basic needs in your programming. But you have some other qualities too. This is your divine nature assembly. It is your spiritual DNA. Your divine nature assembly. It is your DNA. And you share that same divine natural assembly with all of nature, with all of the universe. You see, the truth is, you are as wise as the oldest tree. You are as beautiful as a monarch butterfly. You are as diverse as a rainforest. You are as abundant as sands on the beach. You are as creative as a field of flowers. You are as strong as a colony of ants. You are as transformative as a caterpillar. And you are as powerful as a river that carves out a canyon. Do you believe me? You are as necessary as oxygen to the wholeness of life. If you agree with that, I want you to say yes. Because that's your DNA. That's your divine, natural architecture. It's the way that you are built. We're wrapping up our theme of nature this week. And the bottom line is that the reason that we love looking at nature, the reason that we love sunsets, the reason that we resonate with listening to the birds, is because the nature out there resonates with the nature in here. The nature out there reminds us of our own DNA, our own divine nature assembly. And you see, that original programming, that DNA, it can't be taken away from you. It can't be changed by anything that's ever happened to you or that will ever happen to you. It is your original programming. Last week, we talked about this idea that our teaching is about seeing the spiritual principle behind the physical appearance. Behind the physical appearance of my body and who I am, there is a spiritual truth. And that is who I am. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, and you're thinking, yeah, I hear you, Neil, but I got these bills and these expenses. Nope. That's a program running in your life, definitely. Is it real? Absolutely. Challenging? Absolutely. But who you are, your original programming is abundance. And that condition might be covering it up, but it doesn't change who you are. Oh, but you say, I did this thing when I was younger, and it was horrible and unforgivable, and I have all this shame and this blame. Nope. That's not who you are. That might be a program running in your life. Might feel very real. Might be very challenging. But at the core of who you are, your essence, your DNA, is perfection. And maybe your past is getting in the way a little bit this morning. But it doesn't change who you are. You see, all these little things, your opinions, your assumptions, your behaviors, your mistakes, your pet peeves, they're not who you are. Who you are is what is left when everything of this world is stripped away. Oh, but Neil, I really hate it when someone acts like this, or I really hate that thing that someone did to me. Real? Absolutely. Challenging? Possibly. But who you are, your original DNA, is wholeness and completeness and perfection. And that hurt and that anger might be covering it up, but that is who you are. You see, Ernest Holmes talks about this idea that we have this divine impulse behind us that is trying to find a way out through us. It's trying to shine its way out through us. Practitioner tomorrow this morning in our meditation talked about Emerson, and he said, get your bloated nothingness out of the way. That bloated nothingness is all of that ego, all of those behaviors, all of those opinions. Once you get, those things are sticking on you and they're blocking the flow of good in your life. Are they important? Yeah. But if you just let them go just a little bit and allow some room for some change and some flexibility for that light to shine through, your life can be transformed. You see, the real secret is when we focus on our DNA, when we focus on that spiritual truth about who we are, the rest of those programs, the malware, all those other programs running in the background eventually get deleted or replaced because your original programming can shine through. That is yourself with a big S. So this week, my challenge is for you to pay attention. Pay attention to the decisions that you're making. Are you making them from your ego or from your divine nature? Pay attention to those things that set you off and push your buttons. What is the spiritual truth behind the physical appearance? I once had a minister who always laughs at me. Every time I say push your buttons, I always have to say this. He said, I might push your buttons, but I didn't install them. Spend time just sitting with your divine self. Turn off your phone, turn off your TV, put down that backpack full of rocks that you've been carrying around, and get to know the essential you that you are when all of that falls away. And when you look into a mirror, know that you are the divine. That is your nature. When you look around the world and see the great and beautiful and magnificent things that are out there, remember that you see it and you can recognize it because it's here first. In order to see it, you have to be it. It is your divine nature, and so it is. So I invite any of the practitioners or core council that are here present this morning to join me in the atmosphere of good, the atmosphere of God. And I just invite you to become mindful of your breath. Recognize that right where you are, Spirit is. The divine is. Because it is all that there is. It is infinite abundance, perfect beauty, wholeness, completeness. It is fun and joy and creativity. It is expansion and evolution. It is wisdom and infinite intelligence, order, balance. It is all of those things. And the truth is, right where you are this morning, right where you sit, that is your divine nature. Everything else is just covering it up. And so we let go of anything this morning that is in the way of our divine light shining. We let go of any opinions and hurts and angers from the past. We let go of any worries or about the future. And just for a moment, just for this moment, we sit in that divine nature. It is love. Complete and perfect love. And it is right where you are. It is who and what you are. And I know that as we step into that knowingness, as we step into that atmosphere of God, that whatever it is that's in the way, or whatever it is that feels like it is a lack this morning, it simply dissolves back into the nothingness from which it came. Because it has no law supporting it. It has no permanence. It has no substance. It is not who you are. And so we step into that greatness. We step into that divine nature. We claim it. We know it. We see it because we have to be it first. And so we are so deeply grateful for this, knowing for all of these characteristics of God that are showing up in and through and as us here this morning and in every part of our life. We celebrate it, we give thanks for it, and we release this word into that law that only says, yes, yes, I am, yes. And together we say, and so it is.
Love